Hi, yes, my name is Dalton Campen. I'm a Safer Street Warden for Breckland Council. What my role consists of is carrying high visibility patrols throughout the Thetford PSPO area, as well as external hotspots. Within this high visibility, we look to deter things like antisocial behaviour and many topics around that. Antisocial behaviour, from our perspective, we can see it as behaviour that negatively impacts the public and can be seen as a threat towards the public and puts others at risk. Within our perception and what we deal with, we see a lot of street drinking, fly tipping, shoplifting, youth ASB, so we believe those are things that escalate that kind of behaviour. Obviously we cover a wide range of ASB, as I've just mentioned, through the different topics, but commonly what we face on a day-to-day basis is common street drinking in various hotspots across Thetford, which then of course can escalate into ASB, etc. So I think, generally speaking, it is the street drinking that raises it the most, but of course we do deal with youth ASB and shoplifting, so those all play into that account. We speak to a lot of people, whether it's through businesses or members of the public, and some people are instantly looking to jump at one specific group or one specific person for antisocial behaviour. They may target a certain group and say, oh, but it's of this age category or it's with this characteristic. But generally speaking, in our role, we come across antisocial behaviour in all ages and all different characteristics. So I guess it is how people perceive antisocial behaviour and who they think's doing it. I think that's the general misconception, is that people perceive it to be one group, but absolutely not. I mean, we've come across a wide range of characteristics, so I think it's a common misconception amongst the public. With the role being based boots on the ground, eyes and ears on the ground, we see a lot of direct change and direct improvement from where we stand. If we look at things like fly tipping, there's quite a few hotspots and sites. I can list various locations across Abbey Estates, etc., where we've done a before and after take on it, and I think we've seen a direct impact there from a fly tipping and environmental health perspective, so that's something we're very proud of. Street drinking, as I've stated, I think statistically, I can't give you an exact number on how many drinks have been confiscated and how many fixed penalty notices have been given out, but generally speaking, those that have been handed those or face those sanctions, when we've come across them now, have a lot more respect for us, and we do not see them reoffend. So I think those two put together are great examples of a direct change that the street wardens are having in Thetford. We've dealt with many situations where, I think one I'll lay out here is we visited a store which was facing increased rates of shoplifting from a specific group of people that were coming at a specific time. We've been fed that information back from the store manager, and we've said, okay, well, when this time comes around next week, we'll make sure we're here, because the store owner, the layout of the shop, there's no cameras, and she's got to stay at the till. She cannot leave the till, and people are going around corners and stealing, and unfortunately that's hitting the business hard. So we've made sure we're there at the problematic time, and the people have entered the shop, and us just being there, the store owner was able to feel a lot more comfortable, and over time, with us being there at that time over a course of weeks, we've seen a decrease in shoplifting. And I think that was our first sort of piece of positive feedback back to us, where we thought, okay, this is an example of where that direct visibility with the body cam on and radio, someone seeing you with a body cam on is less likely to think about stealing or anything like that when you've got a body cam on, or they see a piece of authority or visibility. It makes people think twice. So I think that was our first direct positive feedback, where we realised the power of being there at a problematic time, and that was a direct change again that we saw, which was very positive. The survey is a great way to measure our success, and I think we've gathered quite a few responses as it is right now before the link goes live and is open to the public. But I think based upon that, we look at a sort of a before and after, because before we started the role, we went out and conducted a very similar survey. So we've got both perspectives of what the town, or how businesses perceive the town's sort of antisocial behaviour to be like, and things like that. I think a before and after is where it's really come into effect. So this survey now is quite crucial, because it shows the direct change and impact we're having. I'd like to see more people personally. We hand out cards with a link to our survey. I think public perception, and we want to hear feedback from everyone. The public perception of how our role is very important to us. If the public feel there's something we could do better, we want to hear about it. So I think, generally speaking, our work with the public, and what I'd like to see more from the public, is honestly provide us with feedback, and if there's anything people want to bring to our attention, then now's the time to do it with the survey. So I think that's a strong point for me. I think the survey will speak a lot of things and allow us to perform better as well. Directly, like I say, I think it's just to bear in mind the other situations and scenarios what we've assisted in, because I think, like I say, stereotypically we can be associated with one prime topic that we deal with. Of course, it is antisocial behaviour that we deter, we intervene and prevent, amongst many topics like that. But like I say, from a different perspective, medical emergencies, and there's plenty of other things we've assisted in that I don't think the public are quite aware of. So I think that's something I think could be shared a lot more. What I'll take you to is a situation which, of course, I've explained this one to various people, and I think it faces the reality of how street wardens can be that first piece of contact. We've attended several medical emergencies. We've been in a store, or someone's brought us to the attention of a store where a woman has unfortunately collapsed and is having a seizure. With that in mind, my colleague has contacted emergency services, and I've been the first point of contact to run to the nearest defib kit station and bring it back to the store ready for when the paramedics come by. Of course, we've stayed with that person until the paramedics have arrived, but I think that's a realization of our role is not just a case of people see us walking around and think, oh, they're just getting miles in just by walking, but generally speaking, I think there's a lot of topics, a lot of situations that we've been involved in that people just don't know about. And I think that's one of them where when I explain this to people, they go, oh, wow, so you assisted in a medical emergency? Well, yes, we did. That's what we do as well. So I studied at City College, Norwich, Public Services Level 3. So I was always interested in that level of public engagement and working with the public. And I just finished college, and this role was advertised, and it instantly appealed to me in the sense of it is boots on the ground, engaging with the public, is, like I say, eyes and ears, boots on the ground. And that's really where I thought, this is the time to get that experience, put your skills to good use, and like I say, just get out there and help the community. We've come into a position now where we've been on the role for a good few months now, where we've got to know the community, but essentially at first it was probably, with it being such a new role, stepping into somewhere new, getting to know the community and building those relationships where you're willing to more or less work with the public and the public are willing to work with you to reach a common goal, which of course is to minimise antisocial behaviour. So I think at first that was an initial challenge, making that sort of icebreaker and getting to know everyone. With it being such a new role, some people were more open to it than others. But I think now that that's finally, like I say, we've been in the role for a few months, I think the ice is finally broken, it's all going very well. Generally on our day-to-day, when we are patrolling around, everyone sees us. There'll be at least 5 people or so come up to us in a day and still ask about our role, or it'll be 5 people that already know about our role and just want to say hello and have a catch-up with us. And I think, generally speaking, that still plays into a similar situation when we come across street drinkers. Sometimes it's people who we've seen before, sometimes it's people who haven't seen us before. And I think those that have seen us before, when they come across us now, will put the drink away, and those who haven't are inquisitive to what our role is. So I think generally it's verbal communication, just getting out and speaking to people, as opposed to awareness online, etc. A typical shift, or how we start shift always, is of course just going through our kit, ensuring everything works properly. Our radio's linked through to CCTV up Kings Lynn, so we ensure that the communication is clear between us both. We have the body cams, we ensure they're all working just in case we need to use them. And I think generally speaking we head straight into the town centre, and we don't always have a designated route. We don't plan our routes. We have an idea of where we'd like to visit if we haven't visited a location in a while. We of course have a debrief where we look at issues we were facing last week and look to resolve them this week. So we're always on track of, we've got something in our head that we need to sort out. So I think we'll, like I say, we carry out the visibility throughout the town centre, and from there on, that's when people start seeing us walking around. Those who haven't spotted us soon come to see we're walking around, and I think that's where we visit the hotspots for, say, street drinking. If there's anyone there street drinking, of course we deal with that matter. We'll then move on to various locations where I've had instances of fly tipping. And like I say, generally speaking, with that visibility, you tend to find if there is a problem, it more or less, we find it and it finds us. So I think that's, I can't always say every day is the same. It is not the same, every day is different. But the point being, we are ready to deal with whatever does come our way. So standardly, as our role exists now, it is 4 days a week. Those days are flexible and they do change, so it's not a set schedule of when people can expect to see us, which is a good thing. But in future, in terms of development and improvement, I'd like to see the role extended to more days in the week, and of course hitting other areas. There's definitely plenty of other towns that could do with this level of support. I think Thetford's proven to be an example of where the support is needed, and I think there's other towns that are missing out on that, and like I say, extending that availability to more days in the week, I think is crucial. We've had days where we've come back onto shift and linked in with a store, and unfortunately, because we haven't been there at that particular day, they've said to us, well, yesterday something happened, and we're like, unfortunately we weren't available that day. So I think it just goes to show where the support is great and it is needed all the time.